Hello, and welcome to What We Do in the Moonlight, where it's not a phase to play Roblox with your best friend's weird son / Colin Robinson's nephew.
In this episode, some shit goes down in New Jersey.
Woo!
Yes, finally. The boys are heading to Sean's family cabin in Pine Groves. The girls are watching Mamma Mia, and Guillermo is hosting a family dinner. What could possibly go wrong? Except everything, probably. They'll figure it out.
So my name is Caitlin, and I found that it's very difficult to explain to your mother why you're calling a grown man baby boy.
Yeah. That's not easy. It's also a plug for you to take our U quiz, so that we can match you with one of our favorite blower bows from our shows.
Yes. My mother took it, and she said, "What do you mean by baby boy?" And I just started laughing, and she goes, "No, please tell me." And I'm like, "I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm sorry." Just go with it. It's okay.
Just go
with
it. Hello.
Who are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Anyway, Caitlin, what are your immediate... No, I'm just kidding. Hello, everyone. That's me. I'm Emberlyn. My self-care activity, essentially, for the day was I bought my cat a stroller, and I'm putting it together right now, and I'm going to take it for a walk after this, and I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited for you and Manny.
Yeah, and for you, because when you come down, you'll be able to take him for a walk.
I'm gonna be a big city cat mom.
I should note that I accidentally doubled all of my Amazon orders the other day.
Oh no!
So I have 2 strollers.
So what I'm hearing is you need another cat.
That's what I'm hearing too.
Because otherwise, what are you gonna do with that empty stroller?
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be what my partner's hearing, but I'll make him hear it in time.
Clean his ears out, and then we'll talk.
So, Caitlin.
Actually,
wait.
That stroller's for me when I come down.
Yeah.
That's a lot of walking.
Yeah, see, I will be pushing Caitlin in the stroller, and then my partner will be pushing the cat, and they're our kids now. We've adopted them. So.
Finally.
Yes. So, speaking of people's weird kids, Caitlin, what were your immediate reactions to the Pine Barrens episode?
Oh, my immediate reaction was, Shawnee! I was so excited when Sean showed up immediately in this episode again. 3 episodes in a row, we have our favorite human neighbor. He's here, and I love him. Yeah. I just love him so much. I could go on and on about him, but I was really excited that he was here again. I really couldn't have predicted what happened in this episode at all. I literally yelled, "What is happening?" like twice throughout this episode. Yeah. Because I couldn't believe it, and I just love that every week they get into some more weird shit, and I just never know what to expect. And that's why I like this show.
Yeah, I love that Sean has kind of become, like, a reoccurring character to the extent that, like, he's been in 3 episodes in a row. Like,
yeah.
As somebody who has also spent the last, 2 episodes of this podcast praising Sean for just being Sean, it makes me happy that he's back again. Like, more
me too.
Sean for the rest of the season, honestly. That is the goal.
He could just be in their house, no explanations needed, and I'd be so happy. I'd be like, yeah, perfect.
Yes. This next couple of episodes should contain multitudes of Sean. If the writers know what's good for us and them. For me, I think it's just gotten to the point where I truly just don't know what to expect from this show anymore. Like literally at all. I think that I had some expectations of how things would go in the first couple of seasons. But now it's like, shit just happens every single episode that blows my pants clean off. And I kind of love that. Like,
yeah,
this is genuinely the highlight of my life. I had such a ridiculous day yesterday. And it, cured me, just being able to sit down and watch the wacky antics that take place in What We Do in the Shadows.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite part from episode 7?
I know we have a pretty long list here.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll start with the fact that, because this really is special to me for so many reasons, the fact that Nadja's favorite movie is Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I knew she was my person. Like, I knew I loved her from the moment I saw her, Your Honor. But now I know why on, like, a whole new level, because it's one of my favorite movies. I think it's everyone's favorite movie, so I don't want to be like, I'm special, that's my favorite movie. but like as somebody who wore overalls and like basically cosplayed Donna to go see Mamma Mia 2 Here We Go Again when it came out in theaters, this is really special to me. Like, I love her. I just want to be her best friend. Like,
the second that she said they were watching Mamma Mia, I was like, everyone's gonna lose her shit.
And I did. And
so
I did.
good.
I literally screeched at the top of my lungs. Like, people heard me from the other room. It was great. And then anything, of course, where Sean was involved. I know we've talked about this already a bunch, and we will many times more. But
correct.
I just want to say, if Sean has 100 fans, I'm one of them. If Sean has 10 fans, I am one of them. If Sean has 1 fan, it's me. If Sean has no fans, I have descended to the part of hell where all the fun gay people allegedly are. I love this man with everything I have. Yes.
He like I said, the second he graces the screen, I'm just instantly happy. I just love him.
Same. Like, and then the scene with him and Colin Robinson, where they're in the woods together hunting, and Colin Robinson starts talking about smashing the wall, and Sean adjusts the gun on his back because he's like, is this kid gonna literally kill me? It was heartfelt, but also hilarious. It's great to see two of my favorite characters now together in a scene. Like, I wasn't expecting that for this season, and I kind of loved it. And then something else I loved, and I'll talk about more, is just Nadja and Guillermo's relationship developing deeper into a true friendship. But more on that later. Sean being hypnotized again and then playing Roblox with Colin Robinson in the back seat just took me the hell out. Like, they're just in the misery on both Laszlo and Nandor's faces. Like, and then of course Laszlo's multiple pronunciations of silly words, or silly pronunciations, I guess, of normal words. Really special to me. But those are mine. How about you? I know you have a bunch too.
I have a bunch, and if I think we have a lot of the same answers. Like, when we were both in our notes last night separately, but I was like, we're on the same wavelength, so you're typing exactly what I'm typing at the same time. It was great. So I'll try not to repeat anything, but just the fact that the boys were having a boys' night and the girls were having a girls' night wasn't something that I thought I ever needed, but I'm so happy that we got it, because I feel like it was just so wonderful, but also so necessary on both ends. I love that Nandor and Laszlo got to have an opportunity to clear the air on how much they both actually miss each other and being each other's friends. I don't think that could have happened in any semi-normal circumstance in their house. Yeah. So I think they really need to go out to the woods in New Jersey with Sean.
Babies.
And then just the fact that Nadia had a girls' night with the guide and little Nadia and Marwa, which I'll talk about later. But and they were watching Mamma Mia. It was perfect. Like, at this, like, things kept happening. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect. I can't believe this is what we're getting, and I can't believe this doesn't happen more often. Evelyn has put a heart in our Zoom call because that's how much she loves that aspect of the episode. I just think she really, like, I don't really think about the fact that she's, like, really one of the only, she's not the only female character in this show, obviously, but, like, she's the only, like, lead. Yeah. Like, female lead. And I kind of forget that, like, she doesn't have, like, a lot of girls in her life. Right. Which is unfortunate for her and for me, honestly, as a viewer. Yeah. So, to see her get to, like, have that, like, bestie girl time, it was just, like, it's so nice because, I don't know, like, coming off of, like, you and I and our friends, like, we all got together recently, and, like, just having that, like, girl time after a while of, like, being apart, it was just so nice. Yeah. And you come back and you're just like, oh, I'm so happy. I love my friends. And I'm happy that Nadia got to have that this episode. So that was really nice. Laszlo seducing the animals in the beginning, and then later the Jersey Devil with his flute, just hearing that weird tone coming from it was so good. Yeah. Did you have something to say? Are you not plugged in?
Oh my god! What the fuck? I say we keep going.
What is that? Is that your microphone? Yes! Plug it in! What?
How?
Have you check your Hey, so this is the part where we find out Evelyn's microphone has not been plugged in this entire time.
That's stressful. Oh, I don't like that.
What is your Audacity saying?
It said my built-in microphone, so let me... Yeah, of course. It's probably picking it up on my laptop, so let me just pause real quick. For the folks at home.
Are you pausing?
In a
Are you
moment
pausing
here,
your audio?
I'm about to. In a moment here, you're going to hear some really nice quality audio. I also feel like this falls into the house. One moment. And we're back.
We're back with a microphone.
Emotionally stunted me. I'm sad about it. But there was so much wonderful stuff to say in that first couple of minutes that there's no way we can possibly go back and record.
We're not going to. If it sounds like shit, I'm sorry.
It's not essential.
All right.
Cool.
So
as we were saying,
as I was saying,
your favorite things. So go ahead.
I really liked Laszlo using his flute to serenade the animals again. That was a fantastic callback to one of my very favorite moments, and I believe it was season 1 where he just serenades the raccoons.
Yes.
That was great. Something about the tone of that flute was just, I don't know if it's a flute or a recorder, but he calls it a flute, but it sounds like a really weird kazoo. I don't know what it is, but I enjoy it. I think it's very funny.
Yes.
I thought it was really funny that Guillermo said he told his family that he got promoted in Panera Bread to working at a train station instead of just saying that he got a different job because he's such a compulsive liar and he's really bad at it.
Yes.
I just thought it was so funny. He just keeps digging himself holes.
Same.
Like same.
There.
Nadja's Laszlo impression took me out.
Yes.
It's like, oh, my darling. Just the way she says it, I'm like, it's perfect. I love it. And also the fact that she says that he canonically fathered multiple children was just really funny and very Laszlo to me.
Especially that it's canonically, too.
Yeah. Like... And that's why he doesn't like it when she watches Mamma Mia.
Yes.
Nadia loving Guillermo's family, but I know we're going to touch on that later. It's just a fantastic element that I wasn't expecting, but I was enjoying. Something I really want to talk about is the ominous music that played while Colin Robinson was saying that he likes to smash holes in the walls.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
Yeah, what's down there? Because
I feel like as a mockumentary, there usually isn't a lot of music that's added unless it's like unless it's like, you know, stuff like Living on a Prayer or stuff that's like playing, I don't know, it just doesn't happen often. Or it does and I'm just not paying attention, but it just really kind of it really what am I trying to say,
it's out of character for the show.
Yeah, it just all of a sudden, because I feel like, again, I don't know, haven't really gone back and watched this show too much a lot, so maybe this does happen and I'm just like not paying attention, but I really noticed it this time where I'm like, what are they trying to tell us?
Yeah, it seems like foreshadowing, because like it's definitely not something that you hear a lot unless it comes to like the exterior shots, like at the beginning of scenes. Like that's the only time you really hear music in the show, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's like there is music that I can literally hear it in my head, like their main music. Then you got like Nadja's theme and stuff like that, but I don't know, this just seemed too like, it's not just music for this character or music for the tone. It was, we're trying to tell you something. There's something going on here. And I think it's worth noting that Colin Robinson is always smashing holes in the walls with a ball-peen hammer in his old room.
Yeah.
Something symbolic is happening.
Well, this is maybe like the second or third time that there's been a callback to this. Like, it feels like it's relevant to whatever happens at the end of the season or just in general. Like,
yeah, like it's like he's trying to break into who he's gonna be or break out of this character that he's gonna be. I don't know. Something's happening there. I just need people to tell me their thoughts about it, please. Please, because it's intriguing. When during the girls' night, when they all fall down at some point because they're all just drunk with laughter and alcohol. But when the doll, little Nadia, falls off the chair, it was just really funny to me. I don't know why. Just seeing the little girl, just the little thing go, phew, like off the back of the chair was really funny. And then also later when the guide is holding her in her lap, I just really enjoyed that. I thought that was very sweet. And then also, most notably, I really loved Guillermo's family being totally chill about him being gay and immediately accepting him and being like, nah, man, we knew. We've known this entire time. Like, it's all fine.
You're obviously gay. Don't know about a vampire familiar thing, but like you're gay.
Yeah. Like we're not sure about that, but yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about their reaction at all because I trust this show. But it was still really nice to see someone come out to their family and their family being immediately accepting.
Yeah.
So that was nice. It reminded me of Patrick's coming out in Schitt's Creek, where his parents were like, "We don't care that you're gay. We're just sorry that felt like you couldn't tell us," or something like that. I don't know. It was just like, it was really well done, and I love to see it.
Yeah.
I love to see it. So, those were our favorite moments from this episode, but what are your favorite quotes? Because, as per usual, we both have a long list.
So here I think it definitely makes sense for us to do some comparing notes, because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of the same things.
Yeah, I won't repeat the ones that you obviously say.
I'll leave room for you to respond to those too, because I have a feeling there are quite a few. But my first is when Nandor and Laszlo first kind of start fighting in the cabin, and Nandor kind of has a little bit of a hissy fit, and Laszlo goes, "Very mature." Just like you can kind of hear it very quietly right before the commercial break, and it just made me laugh.
Those are the best lines sometimes, the ones that you just barely catch in the background and then it cuts.
Yes.
Like you're like, wait, what did I hear, huh?
Yes, and it was also just another example of the way he likes to like emphasize the parts of certain words that you wouldn't typically emphasize. So I was like, yes,
mature.
And then of course a proper female fuckabout.
Oh my god! Immediately, into my vocabulary. I can't wait to have a proper female fuckabout.
Yes, literally,
it's so good.
It's going to be like on my next like invitation for parties.
100%.
And then on that same in that same category, a good old fashioned slappy girls night.
I missed that one.
I love it.
That's hilarious.
I originally missed that one too, but then when I rewatched the episode, I was like, oh my god, like
I completely missed a good old fashioned sloppy girls night.
And then when Nadja calls Guillermo's family fresh, dazzling moonbeams, also immediately part of my vocabulary.
Peak. Love that.
It's so cute. Like, I'm going to start just calling all of my friends that affectionately.
It was so sweet. I put that in all caps in my notes. I was like, fresh, dazzling moonbeams, love. Like,
it's adorable.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
When Laszlo says... when Nandor says, when they're fighting, right?
Yeah.
They're fighting outside now. Nandor and Laszlo, they've just kind of had this heart-to-heart about, like, why it seems like there's kind of, like, a little bit of space between them. And Nandor goes, "I've missed us."
I know. I was like, oh,
like,
buddy.
It's funny, but it's also like...
It's really sad, especially considering, so, like, you have friends that sometimes you just kind of are a little distant for a while, but then you, like, catch up. But to live in the same house with someone and miss them, ow. that hurts, mommy.
Ow.
That hurts.
My leg.
My leg. So yeah, that pained me. It's one of those things where I feel like this episode was a really good example of how this show can be so funny but also so heartfelt all in the same thing, and like not enough to where you're like, okay, this is a serious show now, but not enough to where like I feel like they did a really good job of not making like heartfelt moments the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Which could have easily been done, and I'm so happy like that's not a thing here. So it was a really good balance, I feel like, this episode where like, yeah, Nandor and Laszlo are both being really stupid, but also, oh my god, they miss each other. Like, it's sad, but it's so nice.
It is
sweet.
sad. It's sweet, yeah, but sweet. I agree.
Yeah.
Another quote for me was, Nandor, I've been crossed by the devil.
The devil? No, but I feel like that line in particular was such a roller coaster, and is such a good example of just like what Matt Berry, I just said Mary and I just combined his names. What Matt Berry does with his lines, because it goes, Nandor, I'm double crossed by the devil. Like it goes up and down and up again. It's just, I don't know, it's just so good. It's so good.
He's just like the semantics of that, like, oh, that's all.
That's all.
Crone. And then when Guillermo says, "You are my family, Naja."
Ouch.
Another example of exactly what you were talking about, Caitlin, where it's like they just know how to like bring a heartfelt moment into everything else that's going on, like without it being like the butt of the joke.
It's just so I just really feel like that. All kudos to the writers, because it's got to be such a hard balance, and like maybe I think it's really hard because I'm not a writer at all, but I still think there's a sweet spot to that sort of balance, and they hit it on the head every single time, and I'm just I'm amazed every week of what comes out of these characters' mouths, because it's always very funny. Like, why does this vampire show make me cry sometimes and then laugh 2 seconds later? Like, it's so good.
I know it's a roller coaster, but in like a fun way. It's like
it's like if it's like a Matt Berry dialect. It's just a roller coaster.
It's great though, because it's good to have comedies that you're sentimental about. Like with like Glee, I'll use Glee as an example until my dying day, because Ryan Murphy's also my shit list. With Glee, like I just like wanted bad things to happen to those people. Like I never was like rooting for anyone in that show. They were all my enemies, and I didn't have any sympathy for them when they left. Like the only time I think I ever cried in that show was when Corey Monteith actually fucking died in real life, and like that was justified. But like with this show, it's like I do feel genuine emotions and connections to the characters, and I'm so glad I get to do that. Like
it's great.
And then I have so many more, but I'll cut mine short and say that my favorite line from the entire episode is when Nadja and Guillermo are negotiating about basically like how to move forward from this whole debacle with the family, and whether or not Nadja will end up ultimately killing Guillermo's family. And Nadja's only thing that she really wants, besides to have the men out of the house every month so she can have some me time, is for them to obtain her a copy of, for Guillermo to obtain her a copy of. And then she opens the scroll, Mamma Mia 2, here we go again. And then she beams at the camera, and it's so cute, and it was my favorite line.
I love that so much, because she goes from all seriousness to be like, I just want them out of the house. And I want Mamma Mia 2, here we go again. Yes. She's just so happy and so excited. I love her so much.
A special woman, truly.
She's so special to me.
How about you? You had like a bunch of favorite lines too.
I do. I thought it was really funny that Sean calls Colin cornbread. He just goes, hey, cornbread. When Sean says, we dem boys. Because that's such a Sean thing to say, and I love him. Just really love him. Immediately, if you've been listening to our What We Do in the Shadows reviews, you know that this is like a reoccurring thing for me, but every time they refer to Colin Robinson, Nadia says, we really needed a break from Laszlo, Nandor, Gizmo, and the small weird creature that clawed its way out of the abdominal cavity of our deceased former friend Colin Robinson.
Yes.
I swear to God, it gets longer every episode, and it makes me laugh every time.
Every episode. It's amazing.
I can't wait till like episode 10 when someone says it, but it's like 2 minutes later and they've finally finished their sentence about who they're addressing.
Yes.
She just kept going, and I was like, this is great. I love this so much. That really wiggled my wagon. When they get to Sean's cabin, he starts pointing out like some, I can't remember what type of animal, but some animal on the wall that he shot, and it's like he's talking about it was like his first kill, and he goes, it was the first time I ever saw something die, but it wouldn't be the last. And then there's just like a long hold on him as he looks mournfully into the middle distance as he slowly cracks open a cold one. And then finally it pans over because someone starts like speaking again, and just something about that hold on him just being like, and it wouldn't be the last. It was so like,
right.
Who hurt you, Shawnee?
To the point where I thought that was gonna be the central plot line of the episode. I was like, right. Are we gonna go back to that? Are we gonna
unpack this, or is that just for us to like?
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to experience that and move on.
We're just gonna have to assume that's the way things are now.
I just thought that was a really funny beat. Laszlo telling Colin Robinson, boy, do your thing. And then Colin asks Siri something.
Yeah.
Like, further, like, prove his point.
Hey, Siri.
Hey, Siri, blah, blah, blah. Anytime... Oh, just kidding, Siri.
Oh, no.
You can go away now.
No.
She goes, I didn't get that. Me too.
Observes.
Every episode when Colin Robinson says, "Hey Laszlo, guess what?"
Yes.
It's just really cute. Guess what? And it's every single time. It's so
Guess
unnecessary.
what?
Guess what?
Yes.
Colin was telling Sean about how Laszlo didn't want him to grow up as a bald-headed boar, and Sean saying, "Yeah, that's why my dad wouldn't let me watch PBS." And as a PBS kid, I just want to say, hey, that's food. I don't think I'm boring. I'm a PBS kid, baby.
I think PBS made me smarter than everyone else that was watching Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, and that's the hill I'll die on.
I think PBS made me the weird good time gal that I am, and I owe it my life.
I have a holier than thou superiority complex that because I watched Cyber Chase versus
Yes.
I don't know, like Nickelodeon shows when I was a kid, because my family did not want to pay for cable. But also because my parents had that pompous, you're going to watch things that matter vibe about them. That's why I'm successful in my life.
Yeah, we just straight up couldn't afford cable at the time. So I had Between the Lions.
Oh, I love Between the Lions.
Literally GOAT of all the PBS shows.
Thank you.
So good. Cliffhanger. Hanging from a cliff. That's why they call him Cliffhanger. Hello?
Yes.
Chicken Jane?
Yes. Thank you. Because whenever I bring up PBS to people when we're talking about it, they're always like, oh, like Cyber Chase, which I love Cyber Chase, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like whenever I'm like Between the Lions, people are like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean what?
What do you mean what? You have not lived
what?
unless you grew up on Between the Lions. Like, that was my jam. I feel like, honestly, the humor of those shows, too, is also why I am like this.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Start the morning with Arthur. Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow!
Like, come on.
When that TikTok sound of the Reading Rainbow theme song started, I was like, I almost wanted to like gatekeep it. I'm like, do you even know where this comes from? Do you understand the significance of this?
Know the significance of this?
Do you understand that this is the Reading Rainbow? Also, fucking comfy couch, big comfy couch.
Don't even look at me.
Oh my god.
Don't even look at me.
That was I have
favorite one.
I have very vivid memories of like lying like on my back on the kitchen floor being the clock. Like,
yes, me too.
Like Luna did. And I just, because like, you know, like her like legs would go all the way up, and I remember being like, how does she do that? Like trying to like just make my legs go like all the way around the clock. Oh my god. Luna and Molly. A clown and her dolly.
Okay, so one time.
Yeah.
One time. Let me talk about this, because people are always like, have you met a celebrity? Yes, I have.
Woo!
Because one time she was doing a meet and greet at the zoo, and my mom took me, and I nearly peed myself. I was so excited.
That's amazing.
So I got
oh my
to meet
god.
her, and she was amazing, and I'm in love with her, and I'm really happy I got to experience that, because fuck that show.
Anyway, shout out to our PBS kids.
Yes. Anyway.
You know what's up. Anyway, back to what we do in the shadows. Now we're FX kids now.
This show's brought to you by PBS. Big thanks to viewers like you.
Oh gosh. Iconic one when Laszlo says, sounds to me like life goes achieved, me old fruit.
Me old fruit.
Me old fruit. The way Nadia says, oh, hello.
Yes.
Every time. Love her. Two more, because we can't go on all day about our favorite quotes, otherwise we're just going to be here for the entire episode.
Yeah.
But when Nadia at the end says, I mean, who isn't gay? And like just doesn't make a big deal about it.
Yep, that's
very
it.
funny. Just,
very dismissive
I mean, who
of
is
straight
it?
people, which I appreciate. Yeah.
That was really funny. And when Laszlo mentions that he hypnotized Sean, but he's worried that we fucked him, I was like, you're worried now that he's messed up? Like...
Yeah, now.
Sean he's gonna be immune to these hypnotisms. I don't know how much that's gonna take. Like, he, at the very tail end of the wedding episode, there was a credit sequence with Sean and Charmaine, and he low-key remembers the night because he's like, wait, weren't you there? Like, it's not gonna work on him. And like, I think I just want Sean to be in the rest of the season because I just want to know what's going on with his brain. And his brain scan,
No, me
please.
too. Well, when he was like,
and that would be the first time regarding seeing somebody die. I keep thinking back in my head, and I'm like, did they eat somebody in front of him at one point? Like I kind of think they did.
They did kill Sal Vulcano from Impractical Jokers
in
front of him. So.
They did, which leads me to believe like that might be what he was talking about. So
this is why I love this show, because like there are things that you think wouldn't be all that important, but they're like, no, we're not done with this, because the Brain Scramblies could have been the one-off episode and then they totally could have forgotten about it. But the fact that because of the events of that episode, something's up with Sean.
Yeah.
I love that they just keep it going, and it's not
layers.
like, it's not in your face. It's very subtle, like the long hold on it wouldn't be the last time, and just everything every time he gets hypnotized. And I don't know, it's just so interesting to me, and I just love him as a character. So the fact that he has this sort of his own plot line going too, instead of just being, and like he's not just the character that you see every so often. He's not just the neighbor.
Yeah, he's not just the neighbor.
Not just the neighbor. I love it. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. The show is layered. Once again, all of my kudos go to the writers of the show. I owe them my life.
Our entire lives, both of them.
Both of them.
Something else that's kind of like an honorable mention, I feel like, and you have it written here, and I feel like we do need to talk about it maybe a little bit, is the way that Guillermo says, "Nata so good."
Oh my god.
Mimicking Nandor. Like, y'all, just kiss him.
Was he mimicking Nandor?
That's how I sensed it was. Like, not so good. Like,
not so good. It sounded Italian to me.
Did it? That's funny.
I just thought I don't know. If he's mimicking Nandor, that's even better, and I love that read. But I just love he just goes, not so good.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that.
Iconic. All right, so I'm curious. I think the audience is too. What song should be playing while you fight the New Jersey Devil?
Well, it has been shown in canon that Bon Jovi is listed as New Jersey music.
Yes.
So I said, "You Give Love a Bad Name."
A banger. Banger.
How about you?
I said, because this is also New Jersey music, I'd say, and this is kind of what I was expecting. So when I heard Bon Jovi, I was like, oh, same. But obviously some Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dancing in the Dark is what I selected because they kind of did a little bit of a dancey dance with the devil to like get him to like chill.
They really did.
So that's what I said.
What character in this episode do you think is a fresh, dazzling moonbeam?
Oh, it is obviously Nadia.
Yes!
Forever and ever. Forever. I love her. I am going to literally, probably after this call, after we finish up here, go and like make a whole playlist dedicated to how much I love her.
Please do.
Because I really laid down my life for this woman. Like, she is everything to me. I am possibly the most in love with her that I've ever been with any woman in my life, and that's saying a lot because my first girl crush was Fran Drescher. Mm-hmm. So, like...
Which makes sense.
Doesn't it?
The Fran Drescher to Nadia of Antipaxos pipeline.
It is a pipeline, and I wrote it right to the end. I am in awe of her. I feel like she just embodies what I want women in television to be presented like. I don't know how to explain to you why that is or what explicitly it is about her that makes me feel that way. I think it's just her personality, her tenacity, the plot lines they write for her, everything. Like, again, I think that there's some sort of like medium essay there that I will never have time to write, but this is all just to say she's my everything. How about you?
I also said Nadia because she was just having a great time this episode, and I've said it before, but she is so weird, and I love it. Like, I love that she just gets to be wholeheartedly herself. Yeah. And it's just, she's written so well, and she's just, Natasha Demetrio is just so good at everything she does with Nadia. I love it so much. I love that she got to have a girls' night, and I hope that she gets to do that more, and that we get to see her have that more, and also just everything with her and Guillermo's family was so good. And I know you have a lot to say about that, so I will chime in there, but I just, it was so wholesome and so pure, and Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. It's actually very good.
Yeah.
It's not just so good, but it's actually really awesome.
It's actually great. So with all praise, what character would you like to shoot in the hand?
I don't really have one. Well, I say that every episode because I'm like, they're all my favorites.
Because
But
I
had
mean,
to, like-
because ultimately, you never really do have a character that you don't like truly on the
Yes.
show.
I would say whenever there's conflict that can probably easily be resolved, I'm not a fan of those characters. Like, I
Yeah.
need them to work it out. Like, so
Yep.
I said maybe like Nandor kind of stressed me out because he was like not being openly communicative about his feelings, just very aggressive at
Correct.
first.
Yeah.
Like just tell your best friend how you feel, and then I
Yep.
know what you said, and I agree with you about what you're going to say. So go.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, I said Laszlo because he was just dismissing Nandor so much, and like really just poor Nandor was such a third wheel on that trip. And
Yeah.
when that moment when like watching it when Laszlo was like, "Oh, my best friend Sean," I was just like, "Aw!" But then Nandor's right there, and he goes, "Sean is your best friend?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh," like I don't think
Rude.
about that sometimes. Sorry, Nandor. And he was just, I don't know, he was just always kind of like on the outskirts, and Laszlo was just always like, you know, like in the beginning when Nandor's like, "Are you gonna help with the bags?" and he goes, "I wasn't planning to, no." Like it was funny, but also like, come on, you're kind of being a dick.
He's
And
like, I'm not interested in being involved.
yeah, and just third wheeling Nandor the entire episode, and they both got their issues, and I'm glad they were able to sort of clear the air, even though Laszlo kind of also sucks at communicating all of that, because he's kind of like, feelings aren't my thing, but I agree with you. So,
Yeah.
boys communicate with each other more, and
Men go to therapy, I guess.
men go to therapy challenge. Yeah.
Men go to therapy challenge. Go to therapy.
We're never gonna get that bingo.
No.
So, we obviously have a lot of praise for this episode. So, what was your first peak as we go into our peaks and valleys of episode 7?
Yeah, so we've been talking about this the whole episode, and I feel like it's just, this is kind of the moment and space to really highlight this. But
Yeah.
the friendship development between Nadja and Guillermo is like really important and significant in this episode.
Yeah.
I think, like a lot of us who are viewers, we originally kind of wanted them to come back from London as like besties.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it makes me even happier to see that we get to experience them growing into closer friends in real time. They're honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think about their paths through these seasons. They're very much alike in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
They're both trying to look for this purpose and success in their lives. And I of course, like at the end of the day, once you could pass like the whole like vampire familiar, like kind of like abusive relationship, it's like, of course they would be friends, like at the end of the day. And now that they're getting so close, and like that's something I really appreciate about the last few episodes is like the development of friendships.
Yeah.
So for like for the past few seasons, there's been a lot of character development, but strangely, I think what was missing, that this season is really giving us, is a lot of relationship development. There's something really special about this to me, because what it tells me is that the writers have really found like the groove for this show. They know how to build relationships now and take the characters they've formed and make them into something beyond the blueprint that the original movie laid out, where it was like 3 vampires, they're just roommates. So like from the girls all hanging out together to this like really tense dynamic between Laszlo and Nandor, to Laszlo's fatherly relationship with baby Colin Robinson, to whatever the fuck is going down with Nandor and Guillermo. It just really feels like this is where it's all happening, and this is where the relationships are getting really like are being built, and people are starting to bond now, and I'm really happy that we get to see that, and we get to see the growth of the show because of that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there's been a really big emphasis this season on family.
Yeah.
Which makes my found family is my very favorite trope ever. Heart just, I love it so much. It's to have like Guillermo said in this show, like I had like, you're my family, but they're my family too. And or however exactly he said it, just hearing him say that out loud, and then he said it a couple episodes ago, he goes, I have 2 families to support. I'm like, they're his family, like I love it. And just I really think that it's kind of easy to forget, like momentarily, as you're watching the show, that they were all apart for a year.
Yeah.
That's a long time to go without. Like even Nadja and Guillermo, like clearly they weren't together all that much during their year when they were both over in London.
Yeah.
And then Nandor was off by himself. Laszlo's by himself raising the creature that crawled out the abdominal cavity of their former friend Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
Like, and then just to have them all come together, I feel like that time spent apart is really, I think it weighed on all of them in a way that maybe they didn't realize.
Yeah.
And they might not come right out and say it unless you're Nandor, who says, I miss us.
Yeah.
You know, in that episode, like, I think it's really interesting to see the impact on all of them. And with Nadia, she says, you know, I've never really cared for Gizmo, but I love his family. I'm like, you are going along with his story that you're his girlfriend so quick to say that you don't care. I saw someone on Tumblr said that Nadja and Guillermo's relationship is like the dog that your dad never wanted.
Yeah.
And then you end up loving anyway. Like, that's them as a relationship. And I just thought that was so brilliant and so spot on. It was so good.
Yes.
And I love where this is going. I hope we get more Guillermo and Nadia scenes together. Also, what a big moment that Guillermo got one of his talking head scenes with Nadia. Like, they're on the same plane. Like, he never has a interview at the same time as one of the others. Like, you know, Nadia and Laszlo are always together. Nandor's by himself. Sometimes Guillermo's in the background, but it's always kind of like he's kind of lesser than. Like, he's just kind of off in the background, like no one who cares. Like, clearly the main focus is Nandor, and there's even that one gimmick in one episode where he's paired up with the Naja doll, and he's just like, is this what we're doing, really? And then he gets up and leaves. So I thought it was a really big moment, because like watching it, like when it pans over to show that Naja's there, I was like, this feels big for some reason.
It is big. I agree.
And I think it says something that like he is finally like more comfortable in his own skin now. Like, he's got this weight lifted off of him now that he's come out to his family, and now he's just kind of like on the same playing field as the rest of them, because they're all very comfortable in their own skin for the most part, it seems. And so now Guillermo gets to be that too. And so I'm excited to see where these last 3 episodes and the next 2 seasons take Guillermo and that aspect.
Me too. It's really special. I feel like in a lot of ways Guillermo and Naja''s relationship is maybe one of the most important ones in the show, because it is overlooked, but like it really is important, because like I feel like Guillermo has been rejected so much, especially by Laszlo and Naja this first like couple of seasons. So I'm going to be really interested to see how their relationship progresses, and I think it's going to become like my comfort friendship on the show.
Yeah.
So did you have like a first peek?
Yeah, I really loved that Marwa got to be a part of Girls' Night.
Yeah.
It's what she deserves. I mean, she deserves way more than this, but just the fact that she was... Girl got some time on screen and also just with people. She got to spend time, and she looked like she was having a great time. And I hope that was Marwa herself having a good time, because... Another really subtle thing that the show is doing is that, like, Marwa's kind of living in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw this, but I saw some posts where talking about how her voice changes from episode 1. It's insane. I'll have to link, I'll have to find the post and link them in this episode eventually, but...
It's so spooky. It's
so spooky because she starts off in episode 1, you know, she's talking normal, and then the more brainwashed she gets, because she is getting brainwashed by Nandor and his wishes, she gets all light and airy and do, and her voice is kind of floaty, and it's scary, dude. Like, I saw like there like a montage of like clips next to each other, and it was terrifying, and the actress is doing such a good job, like, to do that so subtly, but also just so, I don't know, it was just so well done. I enjoyed it so much. Not the fact that she's getting brainwashed, but just her performance. But I really liked that Marwa got to be a part of this episode and a part of the Girls' Night storyline, and just seeing her laugh and be drunk and fall off the couch like the guide and Nadia did, and just like watching Mamma Mia with the girlies, and really wondering, hopefully, that there's not going to be a twist in this movie. So I just thought it was very wholesome and sweet, and she deserves the world, and I hope that we get to see more of Marwa herself as this goes on, and I'm still very intrigued to see how that's all going to end up.
Yeah, I second that. I love her character. I think the actress is incredibly talented. I feel like she's kind of like she wasn't who I was. I thought she was really gonna be like a one-off character.
Yeah.
And now to see like her progression in this past couple of episodes and kind of the role that she's playing in this season, I'm kind of hooked. Like I love her.
Yeah. She's just such an interesting character, and like you said, like I feel like she could have easily been not like a one-off, because clearly that's not how they're writing it, but like not interesting enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like both the writing and the performance from the actress, I'm going to do my very best to pronounce her name correctly, but it's Parisa Fakhri, and she's doing a fantastic job.
Oh, baby. We love you.
We love her. What was your second peak?
So for me, it's just generally just the overt queerness in television that this show exudes. Like,
yeah,
this show is so unapologetically gay, but not in a way that begs you to accept that it's gay. Like, not in like a token representation in Disney films kind of way. It's just, it just is like on behalf of itself, and I appreciate that as a queer person. Like, they aren't trying to send me a very watered down cliche message about being gay. To the extent that when I kind of noted there seemed like there was going to be like a coming out plot in this episode, I probably would have rolled my eyes if I didn't already expect that it wouldn't be like a whole thing. Like some shows try to make it, which doesn't mean there isn't a time and a place for that. I just love films and TV where the queerness isn't performative and where I can be fully immersed in the story and not have to be told over and over again that this is like a story about queer trauma, because that has its place and it isn't here. Like, this is a story about queer joy. And I also love that it isn't straight. I think that's self-explanatory. But if I see like another show that's got like this Big Bang Theory, Tim Allen, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS, laugh track audience looking fuck, I'm breaking open the wall. I'm going to crawl in there and I'm going to let my partner patch that shit up, because I just don't want anything else like that. And I'm glad that I don't have it here. And I'm glad that this show exists. Like, it makes me feel queer joy. So
good. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's also great that, like, and correct me if like any of this sounds like I'm trying to make sense here, but like I feel like it's great to see these storylines where someone, like, you have queer characters but you don't make a thing of it. And I'm not to say that like, oh, you have to be gay but like tone it down, like not that at all, but just the fact that it's just, you don't see a story where like someone comes out and be like, I'm straight, and like makes it their whole personality. It just kind of is. Does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
okay, cool.
Because that's kind of what I like about it. Like, something that I maybe I don't care for, maybe just because I see it so often now, and I think a lot of television shows where there is like a queer character, it is like the sense that, okay, here's an example. Like, for the movie Love, Simon, which is a really nice movie, I think, and it has kind of its place and space. One of the top reviews for that movie, if you Google it, is like, this was a movie that needed to be made. And like, that stresses me out a little bit, because I think like it makes me question the intention of the film. It makes me it makes me question the intention of the media. Which isn't to say it's not a good film, but it's just to say, like, I think like people who are writing queer characters and queer stories have to be really careful about their intentions.
Yeah, like, are you checking a box?
Yeah, are you checking a box?
Do you actually want to tell a story here?
To walk around and talk about how gay they are all day, or you just want them to be gay on behalf of themselves and just kind of own that in a way that isn't like stereotyping and isn't queer baiting and isn't like performative. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
So what was your second peak?
Oh yeah. What was my second peak? Oh, just mine kind of goes along with your first one. Just the entire sequence of Nadia having such a good time with Guillermo's family, to her own surprise, and then until they run after her as vampire slayers. I was having such a good time. That was like my favorite part of the entire episode, because I just had no idea how it was going to go. Because like the second that Nadia sees that Guillermo's home, it's like, oh no, what's like, is she going to go along with it? Is she going to like, trouble's going to happen? Is she like, at first I was thinking, oh, she's going to be mad because there's a bunch of like humans in her house and they can't know that they're vampires. But then it turned into her being like, oh yeah, I'll play with your story that I'm your girlfriend, which was so interesting to me that she, like I said, like she went right along with it. And I just think that proves that they have a really good friendship, or they have the potential to have a really good friendship. So I'm really excited to see that. And but then just seeing her have such a good time with them, being like, oh, I love Gizmo's family, like who knew, you know?
It's cute.
And like actually like conversing with them and like being interested and laughing with them. And then the turn of all of them being vampire hunters and immediately turning on her was so good. And just like the wooden stakes were high. And and I literally like I was genuinely concerned for Nadia, like as they all kept like throwing all of this shit at her. I'm just like, they're gonna hit her, and I'm like, this isn't that show. This is not that show. Like you have to remember that. But like same with when the gun went off with Nandor and Laszlo. I was like, they're gonna accidentally like shoot Colin Robinson and kill him. But I'm like, Caitlin, this is not a high stakes drama. Show. Like it's not this show. Like you're fine. But like I was like so worried for her, and just like seeing her like have to run after them, and then just the whole sequence with Guillermo putting himself physically between his family, by like his biological family and his vampire family, like that whole thing. It was wonderful. I also loved with that sequence that we got to see so much of the house, because I love the house so much. It's so fun, and I love whenever we get to just like literally walk through the hallways of it and like know the layout of the house. And I love a good set, and I love seeing the house go from its semi-normal like Victorian goth-esque vibes to being completely destroyed, and now it's kind of and now it's kind of it's slowly getting back to normal. So seeing the details that went into that was really cool and was fun to see.
It's interesting because it brings me back to that random commercial we got last week with the house flipping.
flip yourself.
Like, all of the episodes this season are so intertwined in a way they never have been before, to where it's like we're just sending you all of these like weird like
subliminal messaging.
Yeah, subliminal messages like throughout the entire season about whatever. Like, what does this commercial mean? I'm still wondering. I'm still racking my brain.
Yeah.
So, with the last episode of the season being titled Memories, it just like gives me so much to think about. I'm really excited for how they tie it all together.
Is it Memories or is it Sunrise Sunset? Because
is it Sunrise Sunset?
IMDb has it listed as Sunrise Sunset, and I don't know what it means.
I'm stressy.
Stressed.
Oh, the other thing we should talk about, well, let's just talk about right now, is the fact that some media sites were listing The Wedding as episode 9, but obviously we know now that it's episode
6.
It's episode 6, so it makes you wonder, like, was it intended to be like the episode that is kind of like the maybe like the cliffhanger before the season finale originally, and then was there an intention they had for moving it up? I'm just so curious.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just like they just literally just got the order wrong, or if they like, I don't think they must not have switched it up at this point, because
go ahead.
If The Wedding was supposed to be episode 9, like in this episode, Nadia calls Marwa Mrs. Nandor the Relentless.
Right.
So this was obviously supposed to happen after the wedding episode at this point. Like, it could have just been like a miscommunication and people trying to put these things together and see like, oh, we know that these are the episode titles, and I think this is the order of which they're going in. And I personally, if I was trying to like guess at those or try to like make context from like the little things, like clues that I got, I would also put The Wedding higher up in like the episode or lower, I guess, towards the season finale, because a title called The Wedding seems like such a big thing to happen, and those things usually happen towards the end of seasons.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's why. But yeah, I don't know. What does it mean?
I don't know. Like, that's what I'm thinking too, because like in my mind, that's where I would put it too, naturally, is probably toward the end, especially because I feel like the idea that like Marwa now likes everything that Nandor likes kind of leaves things on a cliffhanger that could potentially be resolved in episode 10.
What does it mean?
And because multiple sites like I think I saw like 3 or 4 last night from different places all had the episode list that they had
Really?
obtained. Yeah, and all had that same like error. I'm just curious if maybe that was the original intention. I have to go back and look at my screenshots from when I first got the episode list and I was looking at it, but it just makes me curious, like if maybe that was an intention at some point, but then maybe they made a decision, because editing's possible, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe they made a decision like that, oh, maybe we want this to be like a mid-season type of like thing to keep you hooked. But I was just thinking about that, like what does it, like, and it just, to this, all of this is just to say that I think it makes the ending of this season all the more significant, because if the intention was for the wedding to be the second to the last episode, I think it's going to all be tied up with something having to do with Nandor and Guillermo, and it's going to be a big deal. So
I'm excited but so nervous.
Nervous.
I'm
Scared.
nervous. Oh no.
Ready to get my heart broken again, maybe.
Yeah.
Happy we get to watch this together.
Yeah, that's true.
So, did you have any like valleys for this episode?
I didn't really have a valley for this episode. Yeah, no, I don't know. There wasn't anything where I was just like, I mean, there's really never is a thing where I'm like, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
but maybe if I hear your valley, I'll agree. I don't know. What's your valley?
I really like the duality of storylines here, but I really wanted more of the girls together.
Yeah.
I know that wasn't this episode because this really was about Nadja and Guillermo, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
But this is all just to say, like, I'd like to see a whole plot line in the future dedicated to Nadja and the guide and Marwa and little Nadja's friendship, and I also want Nadja and the guide to kiss in an unrelated thought.
Yeah.
But those are all, like, I think these aren't all necessarily valleys. It's just like when I saw that those 4 were going to all be together, I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for this plot line. And then when it wasn't that, I was like, oh man. And I was still incredibly happy with how things worked out, but I really do want that, and I'd love to see that in future episodes or future seasons.
Yeah, there was a moment where when Nadia was like, I'm going to go get another drink. And I was like, oh, you're leaving the girls, and I know that you're going to see Guillermo, and that's going to be a whole thing. But I just really want you to stay with them, and I just want to watch you guys watch Mamma Mia.
Yes. Like, I think I just want that as, like, 5 hours. Remember when they released, like, the 6 or 7 hours of Guillermo, like, inside the coffin at the beginning of the season, when he was being, like, packed, like shipped? I want that, but just them watching Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I think they should do it.
In character. All right. So, let's tootle on over to our What We Do in the Shadows bingo board.
It's bingo time! Thank you for By Hammerspace on Twitter for the template!
Thanks. So this week we of course got Some Shit Goes Down in New Jersey.
I yelled the second that Sean said something New Jersey. I'm like, shit's going down in New Jersey.
I knew it.
I have a question. Did you know that something was happening in New Jersey? Like one of these plots could have been a New Jersey thing. Like, did you know that with any information that you might have seen prior to the season, or was that just a genuinely really lucky guess?
No, of course. Like, when I read the episode titles, I saw Pine Barrens. I was like, that's in New Jersey. So that was my assumption.
Cool. I didn't know it was a real place.
Yeah. So I was like, that sounds like New Jersey.
I don't know. I've only driven through New Jersey. So.
It was either that or, like, something goes down in the woods with the Baron. So I was like, It's got to be one of those. I'm going to say New Jersey because they live in Staten Island, and why wouldn't it be New Jersey?
Look at you using context clues.
Yeah. So then, of course, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 11 or 12 of these left. I personally do not think we're going to get any of them.
I'm so mad because we have 2 almost bingos, and all we need is Guillermo gets some therapy, which he clearly never is going to.
Never.
Or a Marvel movie guest star, which
I'm betting my entire life on that one.
I just, like, someone's gotta just walk in.
If Taika Waititi walks in, that would probably make it. Like, I need him. I'm at the point where
I don't think he's going to.
I'm at the point where I'm literally just gonna, like, accredit him for, like, his production credit in the credits. Like, I'm gonna be like, there he is, and I'm just gonna, like, fucking knock it out because it's not happening. It also kind of makes me insane that Doug Jones has never been in a Marvel movie, given his very long record as, like, a scary movie actor and, like, just, like, a sci-fi actor, FX actor. So Like,
You think he would?
like petition to put him in a Marvel movie since he's like really cool. So yeah.
Doug Jones. I'm literally like going through everybody like,
It's just not gonna happen, man. Like, we just wait, maybe.
So the actress who plays Marwa, she was in S.H.I.E.L.D. Does that count?
I was just gonna say, wait a minute. Why does okay. I think we should count that.
But we said Marvel movie.
Did we?
Yeah, you said Marvel movie guest star.
Rats. Well, anyway, everything sucks still, and we're still gonna lose our bingo this season. Maybe next season we'll do better. Caitlin, on a scale of 1 to 5 levels that Colin Robinson cleared on Roblox during this episode, how many of those would you give this episode out of 5?
I would give them 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Levels cleared on Roblox. I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was just the balance of humor and heartfelt scenes in this, and it really did it for me. And it was also because we're getting to the end of the season. How, I don't know. It's just insane. But I feel like sometimes, never with this show that I've found really, but with other shows, I feel like it could be almost like episode 7's kind of usually the filler episode.
Yeah.
In comedies where if you're gonna have anything big story arc wise, it'll happen in the last 3 episodes, sometimes just the last 2. So this could have easily been like a whatever filler episode where we kind of forget some of the things that has happened earlier in the season, but we didn't get that. It was still a very connected story, a very well written story, a very interesting story. Like I just had a great time. Like I there's never a dull moment with this show, and I love it so much.
Agreed. Here. Like,
what did you rate it?
Well, first I'll say I can't even remember the last time there was a filler episode of the show. Like,
they
all slay the house down boots. I love this show. I love this episode very much. I gave it a 4 out of 5 as well because it like wasn't my favorite episode. But it was definitely like really incredible. It deserves its flowers. The writers are really doing the most.
It's very important. Yeah, it's very important too because this was Guillermo's coming out episode, which is big for his character. I mean, like we all knew. Like literally, when I heard him say like, "I'm gay," like I became that meme where it's like, wait, why am I gasping? I already knew that. You know, like just to hear him say it, like he's hinted at it, and also we all been knew, like we knew. But just to have his character be able to finally say this after 4 seasons out loud, I think was very important, and it was very nice to see, and I'm very happy for him as a character. Also, if I read this interview that Harvey Guillen gave about that, like filming that scene, and how like the first time it was just a lot of tears because it was very important to him. Aww. So I think it's just very special that he got to play this in this in this setting, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I just fucking love this show, guys. We should watch the episodes and then record our thoughts on it because we both love this show so much.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. We could call it like Lit by Moonlight or something, or no, Lit by Shadows.
Let's call it What We Do in the Moonlight. Because it's like What We Do in the Shadows and our podcast name at the same time.
Wow, that's a really good idea.
Thank you. We can talk about it off pod. Don't know if it'll actually happen.
Yeah. Got a lot on our plates, including this podcast.
Yeah.
So.
What is this? Huh?
Thank you for listening to What We Do in the Moonlight. Tune in next week when we go flip ourselves, whatever that means. Or I guess whatever the flip that means.
Whatever the flip that means. See you then!